Any other positions that you held in the union?
Well, I'm thinking I was a local lodge officer, I was a district council delegate, I was a union rep. Basically, that's pretty much where I was. I did spend a lot of time involved in the union, and of course I was doing full-time work at the company also.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked in the safety committee for a number of years in addition to all the rest of this. And that was full slate.
Now, I believe you were president of Local F twice.
Oh yeah, when I came back, I was on the legislative committee for a while, and then I was off the council. And then in the 90s, I ran for Local F president again, and I served as president from 1965 to 72, 71, and then from 1990 through 98, somewhere like that, till I retired in 95, so till I retired. Or just before I retired, and if I think about it, actually I gave up the presidency before I retired. But yeah, there were two periods. Now since then I've been on the retiree club, and I've been on the legislative committee for the retiree club. So I'm still doing legislative type work. So.
Are there any legislative activities that stand out in your mind that over the last 30 years or so?
Well, one was not really legislative, but we were in the Grand Lodge Convention, and this would have been way back in '72 in Los Angeles, and Teddy Kennedy spoke about they had just passed occupational health and safety, and he was bragging about that. And I had gone down to their office in Seattle just before I went to the convention. So when he was bragging about that, he sat down and I said, I had a question, and I said, I'm a union safety person, and I have had to argue with the corporate officials over safety issues, where I'm advocating something that should be safer than it is, and they're advocating that it's safe enough. So when I go down to the office in Seattle, who do I see but all ex-Boeing safety guys that I fought against while I was a union safety man. And they told me that they can't hire any union guys because we don't have a full 4-year college degree. And I said, I've gone to Placid Harbor Union Educational, I've been to the Governor's Safety Conference, and I've got in the shop practical experience. They put that in the law. That same year, about 3 months later, I got a letter from the International that says that Kennedy has incorporated your suggestions in the Occupational Health and Safety Law.
Very good.
So that a practical experience would qualify you to be a federal inspector under the OSHA program. So if you're looking for a job, let's see. So that, and a couple of times, not often, a couple of times in Olympia, we did actually talk to a Republican. There was one guy, and I forget his name. He was kind of dingy. He's a real right-wing Republican. He was famous for having brought a gun on the floor of the legislature one time. He was opposed to workman's compensation, or, you know, they want to privatize workman. This comes up every year, privatize workman compensation.
Right.
So John Glover, who was a member of the district council, and I talked to him, and we said, you know, we gave him all the arguments, and by golly, he changed his vote. And Glover was really impressed, because we were in the galley watching. He said, boy, he used the arguments you gave him. I said, yeah. That's one. Oh, and there's another one. Eleanor, what the hell was her name? She was a woman legislator from Kent. First name was Eleanor Forson. Anyway.
It's okay.
The Republicans had a 1-vote majority in the state Senate, and she was the chair of the Labor Committee. And we had a labor bill. We knew it wouldn't pass, but we wanted a hearing on it so that we could publicize the union's position on this bill. She wouldn't call a hearing. And I was with Zarakowitz. So Zach and I saw her coming out of the office building. And she saw us standing there, and she knew who I was, and Zach too. So she cuts across the lawn. Now this is in February in Olympia, in high heels. She only got halfway across, and she got stuck. We pounced on her. And I says, we'll pull you out if you agree to have the hearing. And she did. We pulled her out of the mud. And she was a good person. So we had the hearing. We didn't win the bill, but we had the hearing. Damn hearing. You ask Zach. He was with me then. He remembers that. Yeah, we pulled her out of the. She tried to cut across the lawn. I remember that one.
That's a good one.
Fortson, I think, Eleanor Fortson. But, you know, that's a sad story because there was another bill a year or two later on comp worth that women should get paid the same as men, and we lobbied on that. And she was an independent businesswoman, Republican, I would say in today's terms of moderate Republican, and she was in favor of comparable worth for women's work. I mean, and they took her, the Republican caucus, it was called the Rule of 13. They had 25 members in the Republican legislature and 24 Democrats. So out of the 25, 13 is the majority. So the Rule of 13 took Eleanor into that lobby room and beat on her to make her vote against comp worth. And I was there. I saw her come out of there crying. Now we're talking a grown woman. And she voted against comp worth, and then she quit the legislature. So they play hardball down there. And yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I've seen some relatively interesting.
Yes, you have.
Yeah. I remember one time I went down and we visited Governor Booth Gardner, me and a guy from the shop. He spent, in his office, he was governor, he spent half an hour showing us, he had an ergonomic chair at his desk, and had the arms went up like this, and legs. He spent half an hour on his hands and knees showing us how this ergonomic chair worked. And so that was I didn't get a chance to talk a heck of a lot. Of course, he was on our side anyway, but you know, it was kind of interesting to see the governor down there showing how this chair worked. And I said, if you push the right button, does it shoot you through the ceiling? He said, no. Yeah, he's got what do you call it, Parkinson's, I guess.
I believe you're right.
Yeah, he's not doing too well. That's too bad. Yeah.
Now, somebody told me that you and your wife were famous for leading the chicken dance at the award banquets. What was that all about?
Well, we because of the tremendous amount of money that I earned at Boeing, we did go on a vacation to Germany. Already 30 years ago, I guess now, and they did this chicken dance. You know, it's a novelty dance. So when we came back, we were showing it to different people. That's basically it. It's our dance. People know what it is, I'm sure. You clap your hands and wave your elbows, and you know. Yeah, we had a good old time with that.
So what were the award banquets? I don't believe they have those anymore.
Say that again?
The award banquets, what were they? I don't think they have them anymore.
Oh, yeah, well, I have to say, when Tom Baker was president, the first couple years or so, we did put on the union put on a banquet for giving out the 25-year pin, every 5-year increment, you know, up to 50-year pin. And I mean, he rented a Holiday Inn, a ballroom, and we had a dinner and champagne and the whole bit, and then they had a presentation of the. I think that was good. I would be in favor of that. When they had the layoffs and economic hard times hit, it kind of went away. But we did do, you know, that kind of thing to recognize long-term members.
Now you just got your 50-year pin.
Yeah, and I talked to Wroblewski and Sue about that. They're going to try to give the awards at the Retiree Club, at least give that public recognition. So, and I got mine there, which is fine. I mean, a banquet with champagne would be better, but I mean,
He'll take what
I
you can
recognize
get.
that, you know, it costs, everything costs money, you know, so.
Mhm.